Hi, I'm Josh, also known as JM the Conqueror on YouTube. This is my first video tutorial, and I'll be explaining how to unwrap an object, give it a UV layout, and then export it as a .object file to be used in just about any other 3D application that supports object files. So I'll be using this 3D sphere as an example. Well, if you want to, you can import an object file into Blender. You just have to go to File, down to Import, and down to Wavefront Object.obj. And here you can use the P button here. That's for parent directory. It just scrolls through the directories one by one. But I prefer these up and down arrow keys here because that gives you a list of like each drive you have. So you can go to whatever drive and retrieve your object file like that. So this is the sphere we'll be working on. Well, I'll be working on. Basically, I'm going to show you how to activate the normals button, which will display the normals for it, and then we'll unwrap it. So yeah, let's get started. First, you want to select it with the right mouse button. You'll know when it's selected. It'll have this pink outline around it that just lets you know it's selected. After that, you go into edit mode. You can press the tab key, or you can do it like this, edit mode, either or. Now we want to go over to where it says Mesh Tools 1. This is with our tool Draw Normals. We activate that, and as you can see, this object now has a bunch of blue spikes all around it on each face. This means that the normals are facing the right way. If they weren't facing the right way, all these spikes would be on the inside. That would indicate that the normals are facing the inside instead of the outside, and not only would it not render right, but the texture would not be applied right. Texture would either show up distorted or not at all. So you always want to make sure that your normals are facing the right direction. If they're not, there's actually a trick to that in Blender. You could select the entire thing with A, hold Control and press N, and that'll give you this little option that says recalculate normals on the outside. So you can do that. That'll switch them all around for you. Alright. And once that's done, let me disactivate that now. We're going to give this object a UV layout. It's actually fairly simple. We go down here where it splits off. Wait till you see the cursor, the mouse cursor, turn into a up and down arrow key. Right click it and then press split area, and then pretty much anywhere on this 3D viewport you can click and it'll give you two screens instead of just one. So before we get into the UV layout, we want to go over here to the materials panel, and if it doesn't have any materials properties for this object yet, go ahead and add one. Now I'm not going to get into it, but all these attributes, these up here are pretty much the buttons that control all these options. And basically it's a layout for your surface materials or any kind of effects you want to give this object. So again, I'm not going to get deep into it because it'll take forever. Anyways, we want to go right here where it says MA, semicolon, and this is going to be the name of the material for our object. Right below it is the name of the object itself, but for now we're just going to write in, just give this material a name, anything you want to give it. I'm going to go Sphere 1. Alright, so that's done. Now what we want to do is go over to this newly created window here. We'll pull up this option box, and we want to go up to UV Image Editor, and this is going to give us the basically the UV layout's going to sit in this box right here once we unwrap it. So to unwrap it, we go over here on this this menu option box. We go up to UV Face Select, and this will turn this sphere white. Basically what that means is it's just taking all those faces and saying, okay, it's ready to be laid out in UV form. You can see as we select all of them, they appear in this box over here. But what we want to do, unselect that, we want to select the whole thing and lay the entire thing out. Okay, so the way we do that is we press A to select the entire object, and then we, while our mouse cursor is still in this UV port, or I'm sorry, the 3D viewport, we press the U key on the keyboard. That brings up this UV calculation unwrap box. It's basically just a menu of how many different ways the Blender can unwrap this object for us. So we want to go down to the last one, which says Unwrap Smart Projections. Just leave everything the default the way it is. It'll unwrap it perfectly fine. Press this beige OK button, and as you can see, now the entire object is completely unwrapped for us. So now what we got to do is we got to go here to where it says UVs in the UV option panel, and we got to go up to Scripts and save UV face layout. Everything here is fine, just leave it like it is. Press OK. Now it's going to save this out as a .target file. But here's the important thing: before we save it, we have to give it the same name that we gave the materials property for this object. Mine was Sphere 1. Whatever name you give it, go ahead and give it the same name. If you don't give it the same name as the properties, the material properties, the UV projection here is not going to be exported. So you want to make sure those two match. It's very important. So go ahead and save it. Save UV target. Now, before we export this, what we want to do is we're going to go up to File. We want to pack data. When we pack data, that's basically telling it to pack everything we just did inside the same file. That's just basically compiling all the elements of it and getting it ready for export. So now we want to export it. Go back up to File, go down to Export, wait for an object, and you can save this in any directory you want to. I just use this one I've been using for a game, so we call it Sphere UV, whatever you want to call it. Export is a wavefront.object file. Okay, you're gonna get these options up here. I like to go normals. That'll put all the normals on there for us, and then go OK. So yeah, now the object's exported as a .object file, and in the next tutorial I'll be using XSI with this same object with the UV layout to explain how we can cross-thread it before we put it in the ZBrush for detailing. So yeah, I'll stop this now and I'll start making that one.